This video explains the Take Temps cooling programs section of the software. Cooling programs allow you to track and record the cooling process of an item in real time, logging each temperature you take and when you took it within the handheld unit. This ensures that an item being cooled is accurately monitored for best food safety practices. The program can be set up for a standard two-stage cooling process or a one-stage cooling process, depending on your needs and requirements. To create a cooling program, first navigate to the Programs tab in the Take Temps section of the software. The first button you will click on is the Add New Row button, located in the top left section of the grid. Once chosen, you will see a new row appear, prompting you to type in the name of your new program. Once completed, you will proceed to the next column over in the row, which houses a toggle called Load. When checked, the software will load this particular program onto any Temp-Taker that is synced with it. Utilizing the load toggles allows you to keep a variety of pre-created programs available that you may alternate on a day-to-day or weekly basis, without having to delete and rebuild programs repeatedly when accommodating your needs. The next column over to the right is called the Checkoff column. This allows you to set a program to have its items disappear from the list as you complete them inside of the handheld unit. Once the list is finished, the device will then ask you if you are ready to repopulate the list again with its original items for the next user to use. If you decide to utilize this feature, the following column to the right, called Auto Reset, will then light up with its own adjustable toggle. When selecting Yes to activate this feature, the Temp-Taker will automatically repopulate a completed checkoff program without prompting you to do so manually. The next column over is called the Process column. This column is where you choose what style of program you would like to create. For this example, we will choose Cooling as our process style. Once chosen, you will then click into the next column over, called Program Members. A new window will now pop up called the Cooling Program Builder. Before adding items to this program, you must first set the style of cooling program you want the attached food items to follow. This toggle is found at the top of the window in a section called Food Temperature. These three toggle options are as follows. Hot two-stage follows the standard best practice for cooling a food item. This program allows you to cool the items in two stages, with two built-in corrective actions of reheat and discard available to you in the first cooling stage, and discard available to you in the second stage. Hot one stage was designed specifically for school cafeterias, as it allows the ability to track the initial stage of cooling an item without the need of the secondary stage of tracking the item from room temperature to cooler temperature. This setup will also make both the reheat and discard corrective actions available to the user. The last option is called Room. This is a single-stage option as well, but primarily designed for tracking an item from the room temperature state to a cooled temperature state. Discard will be the only corrective action available in this setting. Once you have selected the style of program, you will then need to adjust the parameters to your organization's preferences. The Temp-Taker system has been pre-programmed with the industry standard setting of 135 degrees for a minimum starting temperature, a 70-degree target within 2 hours to complete the first stage of the cooling process, and then a final target of 41 degrees or below within an additional 4 hours to complete stage 2 of the cooling process. Please note the following when setting these parameters. The total time limit setting includes the first stage time limit. So, for example, if you set the first stage time limit to 2 hours and the total time limit to 6 hours, the second stage portion is 4 hours long. Secondly, the reheat corrective action is only available in the first stage of the cooling process, which means if you choose to reheat an item that is not going to cool down to the proper temperature before the first stage time limit expires, you will want to select Reheat on the handheld unit before this clock runs out. Once selected on the handheld, the first stage cooling process will begin again with a fresh first stage time limit countdown clock. You will still be required to temp the item at the preset minimum starting temperature you programmed here on this window. Lastly, you now choose the items you would want available for this program by clicking on any of the available items on the left column of the window. Each item you select for the program gets pushed over into the column on the right. To remove an item, simply click on it while it is housed in the right column, and it will be placed back into the left column detached from the program. These items can also be reordered by clicking and holding your mouse's left button down on a given selection, then moving your mouse up or down to the desired position before releasing the button again. The icons directly to the left of this area will also sort your choices from A to Z or Z to A by clicking on them. Once completed, click Save and the program will be complete. This concludes the training video on the Take Temps Cooling Programs section of the software. For additional questions, please email info@itdfoodsafety.com or call 321-676-3194 to reach a technical support representative.